we're going to move into the next section of the agenda, which, Karthik and I both referenced we're taking DNA out of order. We're going into the A section, which is the action part of the agenda, where we are going to be sharing a few examples from a couple from our affiliates, and actually, I think all three from our affiliates, actually, of really what does it take to collaborate cross-racially, right? I mean, you can't just be like, okay, I'm gonna go partner with the Black community now, right? Like there's actually there's a lot to it in terms of how you build these relationships. We heard from this morning's panel the importance of trust, having meals together, breaking bread together, right? Understanding each other's communities. So we're gonna be sharing with you 3 examples. And the first one is actually also hints on a theme from this morning, which I think Estella mentioned, which is about doing the work individually. So our first example is from the Black Pacific Alliance. And the Black Pacific Alliance is a project of EPIC, empowering Pacific Islander communities. The 2 speakers, the 2 co-founders of Black Pacific Alliance, unfortunately could not be here in person. However, thank you so much. However, we were able to record a quick interview with both of them. So Savali Andrews, I will go ahead and introduce, even though she is not here in the room, but she is with us in spirit. Savali Andrews is actually a professor at Oberlin and has a really rich background in music and culture and anthropology and all of these things and how they come together. And then Jason Finau is also the co-founder of Black Pacific Alliance. Jason is actually a clinician, a mental health provider right here in SFUSD. That's his day job. And the 2 of them came together. Well, I'll let them tell their story of how they came together to form Black Pacific Alliance. But I want you to be listening for, as we play their video, this idea of doing the work internally, doing the work within our culture, and doing the work internally before we can really do our work cross-racially. So with that, we will go ahead and play their video.
Black Pacific Alliance, it started back in the summer of 2020. After the murder of George Floyd, there was a hashtag in the PI community going around that said hashtag Pacific Islanders for Black Lives Matter. And as that was circulating, it just felt like there was this dissonance around that being said and what was actually felt by myself. And I've talked about it with my cousin, Savali, who's our co-founder of BPA. And that is where a Pacific Islander organization had reached out to me to ask if I would be open to facilitating sort of a healing circle, which ended up becoming more of a heart space for individuals who identified as being both Black and Pacific Islander, and who have had experiences growing up in the PI community as someone who identifies as Black and Pacific Islander or Melanesian, and experiencing anti-Blackness from our family members, our close loved ones, other community members, and not really having an outlet to express those feelings in a safe way. And initially, it was only supposed to be one session, one meeting, and we threw that out there to the universe to see if anybody would be interested in joining us. And we had an overwhelming response of folks coming out of the woodwork and feeling the exact same way that we felt.
After the first meeting, we actually took a moment just to smile and look in each other's eyes, and there just felt like there was this sigh of at least some kind of relief to see that there were so many others that on one hand are like you, but at the same time, there's such diversity even in that two-bloodedness or, mixed race, however you want to identify yourself. And also to bring in this piece of, it's not just Black and Pacific Islander, Africana and Pacifica, but it's also bringing in to view Melanesian peoples in this conversation, where usually it is dominated by Pacific Islander Polynesian voices, maybe Micronesian, but certainly the eraser of Melanesian faces, spaces, conversations are not usually a part of this. It was wonderful first gathering where we were able to just exhale together and say, this is a thing, and it's not just looking at another family member. And, you know, kind of having some conversations about what it feels like to be erased or sidelined because of the Black side of you, and what that could mean, what that experience means within Pacific spaces. It has turned into a full-blown organization that is, you know, serving this particular community to illuminate our experiences outwardly, but certainly we wanted to focus inwardly for the first couple of years because, you know, after that sigh of relief of recognizing each other, we realized that there was a lot of different issues that we needed to unpack for ourselves. We can't talk to other people around, you know, certain ideas of violation that are you know, legible to wider communities. We're talking about issues of colorism or appropriation without really getting into what that means specifically for this mixedness, right? And so that first meeting also brought, you know, a stunning view of all of these different cultural backgrounds and histories that we have to address. And so, you know, colonial legacies is going to factor prominently in how we even view what anti-Blackness looks like at home and in the diaspora. So first it was inward. Outward, now we have a project that is called Rooted Resilience that came out of a series of conversations that have to do with addressing the question, where did we even come from? Where does all of this come from? And it would make sense for us to rewind back to our parents' experiences, understanding that this is an identity journey, you know, constructions of a journey that are not just ours, but certainly we're taking on, for better or worse, what our parents were going through as they were trying to raise us, or in some cases not raise us. And so we decided to start working on a project that would be about collecting these stories where we put ourselves in these very vulnerable situations to come back to our parents, our guardians, and any of our loved ones that may be able to speak to what they were going through, to answer to some questions that we've never really gotten the answers to, or in some cases, those that we've never even thought to ask.
As we are continuing to go through this ourselves, again, we are still new in what Black Pacific Alliance is, and we're excited about where we can potentially go with partners like the Civic Engagement Fund and the other AAPI organizations. I would say that being engaged and then managing our discomfort or resistance to some of the conversations, to some of the feelings, to some of what is being shared, and accepting non-closure. I think there are times where there just isn't the opportunity or the possibility to get closure on some of the experiences that folks have had, and recognizing that piece and supporting folks with being able to accept it and to not necessarily move on, but to help them with continuing their journey in a different way, right? So not everyone's journey is going to be exactly the same. So by managing the discomfort and understanding that there will be moments of non-closure, that we're able to forge new paths that will hopefully build strength and resilience in wherever that journey ends up taking them.